You ever have one of those neighbors who think they run the world? Mine didn't just think it, she believed it. I was watering my plants on a quiet Saturday morning when she stormed onto my lawn, waving her folder like a badge of authority. 15 minutes later, that same queen of the neighborhood was sitting in the back of a police car. And the best part? Every second of it was caught on camera. That morning started off the way I like it, calm, simple, and mine. The kind of day where the world feels still, and even the birds take their time. I'd thrown on a pair of shorts and an old sleeveless undershirt, just something light to handle the heat. The sun was already blazing, the air thick enough to chew. But I didn't care. This was my weekend ritual, watering my hydrangeas, trimming the edges, just enjoying the peace I'd earned. The sprinkler system had been giving me trouble lately, so I was doing things the old-fashioned way: garden hose, patience, and a bit of sweat. That peace, that quiet rhythm, was sacred. At least until that voice pierced through it like a car alarm in a monastery. "Excuse me. Excuse me. What do you think you're doing?" I froze. That tone, sharp, shrill, and absolutely certain it belonged in charge, could only belong to one person. Karen Hale, president of the Maplewood Heights Homeowners Association. Or as most of the neighborhood called her, the self-appointed sheriff of suburbia. She marched across the street in her pressed blouse and pencil skirt, folder tucked under her arm like she was serving warrants. I turned off the hose and just stared as she stomped across my grass without hesitation. "This," she said, glaring at me like I was flashing the whole neighborhood, "is completely inappropriate. Cover yourself up immediately." I blinked. "I'm watering my plants." "In that?" she snapped, gesturing at my sleeveless shirt like it was a scandal. "Yes, in this. On my own property." That should have been the end of it. But with Karen, nothing was ever that simple. When I moved into Maplewood Heights 3 years ago, it was peaceful. Nice people, clean streets, friendly BBQs, the kind of place you picture on a postcard. But that all changed 6 months ago when Karen got elected as HOA president. She campaigned on restoring community standards, which sounded fine, until you realized she was the standard. Within weeks, she was on a crusade. Notices started showing up in mailboxes: lawns half an inch too long, bins left out a few hours late, non-compliant mailboxes. She even scolded the Johnsons for having a garden gnome that didn't align with the neighborhood's aesthetic. It was absurd. At first, I ignored her. I kept my distance, paid my fees, and minded my business. But the moment I declined her invitation to join her so-called neighborhood beautification committee, I became one of the problem homeowners. After that, I could feel her eyes on me. Whenever I stepped outside, there she was, standing on her porch with her arms crossed, squinting like she was patrolling the border. Her husband mowed their lawn shirtless all the time, but apparently, my sleeveless shirt was an offense to decency. So when she crossed my lawn that morning, folder in hand, I knew it wasn't about my clothes. It was about control. "Your attire," she hissed, "is bringing down property values and setting a bad example for the children." I almost laughed. It was 9 a.m., there wasn't a single kid outside. "Karen," I said as evenly as I could, "you're on my property. Please go back home." She ignored me and whipped out her phone. "I'm documenting this violation," she announced, holding the camera like she was filming a crime scene. "This footage will be presented at the next board meeting when we vote on the new dress code amendment." I sighed. "Karen, filming me on my property without consent is harassment. Leave, now." She smirked. "I have every right." Section 4, Paragraph 2, Access for Inspection. Ah. The magic words. That's when I realized she'd really picked the wrong person to mess with. I'm a paralegal. I've seen every kind of overreach you can imagine, and I knew the law better than she did. "That section," I said, "applies to common areas. Not private lawns." And only with written notice. Her eyes narrowed. She stepped closer, folder shaking slightly in her hand. Oh yeah? What are you gonna do, call the cops? I smiled. Actually, yeah. I am. She didn't believe me. At first, she actually laughed. Then she realized I wasn't joking when I pulled out my phone and started recording. 911, what's your emergency? Yes, I said calmly, I have someone trespassing on my property who refuses to leave despite multiple requests. Karen froze mid-sentence. Her jaw dropped, then tightened again. You wouldn't dare. My husband's friends with the police chief. Then I'm sure he'll be thrilled to see this video, I said. She was fuming, muttering about neighborhood decency and attitude problems as I filmed. 10 minutes later, a patrol car rolled up. 2 officers stepped out, one male, one female, both already looking like they'd seen this kind of scene 100 times. Karen instantly changed her tone. Her anger vanished behind a wide, sugary smile. Officers. Thank goodness you're here. I'm the HOA president. This resident is in violation of our community's decency policy. The female officer glanced at me. I handed her my phone. Ma'am, I said, she's been trespassing and recording me after being asked to leave several times. The officer watched a few seconds of the footage. Then looked at Karen with that calm, patient expression cops use before things get real. Ma'am, HOA regulations don't override private property laws, she said. Karen's face twitched. But I'm the president. I have authority. The male officer crossed his arms. Authority doesn't mean immunity. He asked you to leave, that means you leave. That should have been the end of it. But Karen couldn't help herself. Her pride wouldn't let her walk away. I'm not leaving until he agrees to comply with community standards, she barked. Ma'am, this is your last warning, the officer said. Karen's chin lifted. Do you even know who my husband is? The female cop sighed. Yes, ma'am. We know. Please set your phone down and place your hands behind your back. Karen blinked. You're arresting me? This is outrageous. I'm the victim. But the handcuffs clicked anyway. Her folder, that same sacred binder of rules, hit the ground as they turned her around. Neighbors started coming out, drawn by the shouting. Phones up. Cameras rolling. Someone whispered, finally. Karen screamed the whole time. This is a mistake. I'm the HOA president. He's the one breaking the rules. The male officer opened the patrol car door. Ma'am, please step inside. She refused. They guided her in gently but firmly, closing the door behind her. When the car pulled away, I just stood there, still holding the hose, trying to process the absurdity of what had just happened. Neighbors started clapping. One guy yelled, "Guess she's not above the law after all." 3 days later, I got a call from the station. Karen was officially charged with trespassing, harassment, and disorderly conduct. She was facing a $2,000 fine and community service. But it didn't stop there. The HOA board held an emergency vote that same week, and unanimously voted to remove her as president. Apparently, even her closest allies were tired of her antics. And to top it off, her little meltdown had gone semi-viral in the local paper. Someone leaked the photo, her being escorted into the patrol car, still clutching that folder like a lifeline. It was poetic. Her employer, a real estate firm, suspended her indefinitely. Seems the face of Maplewood Heights had become a PR nightmare overnight. When I saw her again at her preliminary hearing, she looked completely different. No clipboard, no confidence, just anger wrapped in embarrassment. She leaned toward me in the hallway, voice shaking. You ruined my life over a stupid shirt. The judge, overhearing her outburst, looked up sharply. Ms. Hale, that's enough, he said. Then, with a sigh, raised her bail by another $500. I didn't say a word. I didn't need to. Because the look on her face said everything. As I walked out of the courthouse, the morning sun felt a little lighter. Justice doesn't always roar, sometimes it just quietly balances the scales. I didn't get her arrested out of spite. I just refused to be bullied on my own property. Some people think authority makes them untouchable. But power without respect? It collapses the moment someone stands up to it. And in that moment, standing on my lawn with the hose still dripping, I realized something simple. You don't need to fight every battle loud. Sometimes, you just need to know the law, and let the truth do the rest. So yeah, that's how my HOA president went from neighborhood royalty to mugshot Monday. If you've ever had a neighbor like Karen, you know the feeling. That sweet, quiet moment when karma finally pulls into the driveway. Because in the end, it's not about revenge. It's about peace. And keeping your lawn, and your dignity, your own.